One minute everything's looking great, you're cruising along, you're out there in the ocean, but in a split instance it can just turn to disaster.
Sometimes you're so lucky to be alive because maybe a wave nearly took the wheelhouse off the boat, or you've blown the windows out, the front and back.
And one of the guys said, we're going to punch a window out here, and I didn't even think.
He was doing an activity which happens every day, and unfortunately it just didn't quite work out for him that day.
I fell overboard one night in a gale. I could see that boat on the top of every wave, and I tell you what, I was giving that everything to catch that boat.
There is a high degree of risk involved in professional fishing, and most of these risks have been normalised as part of fishing culture. We think, I haven't had an incident, so what I'm doing must be fine, when we should be thinking, something could happen to me today, so I will be prepared. All risks can be significantly reduced through the development and implementation of a Safety Management System, or SMS. A safety management system consists of 3 core elements: your vessel and its operations, the people on board, and procedures they undertake. An SMS should not inhibit your business, it should enhance it. The most successful systems are those that become part of your daily operation, where the entire crew is involved and everyone is motivated to maintain a safe working environment.
There used to be a saying when we used to set long lines, shark hooks. There's those people that have had a hook and those people that are going to get a hook. And it doesn't matter whether it's a hook or a boat rollover or what it is, if you push the boundaries, it's going to happen to you.
Step 1. Assessing hazards and risks. Get the owner, skipper and crew together to have a discussion about the hazards you face during your daily operation. Run through different scenarios and evaluate the consequences of inaction. Then, develop control measures to reduce the risk rating to an acceptable level. Record these hazards, risks and controls. This document will be invaluable when inducting crew and evaluating if controls have been effective. Identifying the hazards specific to your operation is important to making your operations safer.
I fell overboard one night in a gale, and the crew stopped the boat because their instructions were in such a case to stop the boat in seas like that instead of trying to turn around in the middle of the night. So I had about a 400-metre swim. I could see that boat on the top of every wave, and I tell you what, I was giving that everything to catch that boat. My word. So it can be very dangerous. I mean, the fact that I think 8 fishermen have lost their lives off our coastline here in the past 2 years, stands testament that 8 fishermen have died right here off Bundaberg. So it's not an industry that's not prone to an element of risk.
Your vessel is the beating heart of your business. It is also responsible for the lives of your crew. Therefore, regular checks and maintenance are essential. There are various frequencies where checks and maintenance must occur. Every vessel is different, and the maintenance schedule needs to be tailored to your vessel. It is extremely valuable for this information to be logged, but above all, it is a requirement for AMSA surveys.
The sea and the air, aviation, are two of the most unforgiving environments you can possibly be in. And so to have things go wrong loads the crew up, and all of a sudden you can get yourself into an unsafe situation. To be proactive in your maintenance and not have to handle those things at sea makes the whole environment safer.
Defining the roles and responsibilities of each member of the business is crucial for good communication and the overall safety of your operation. Define the responsibilities taken by the owner or a person who has the authority to act on their behalf. Responsibilities such as: has the owner given full authority for the operation of the vessel to the skipper? Who gives briefings and conducts training? Who decides if the vessel goes out today? The designated person is responsible for the safety of the vessel and operation. Is this the owner, skipper, or another person? These responsibilities will be different business to business. The important thing is that these roles are defined, recorded, and signed by each party. There is a minimum and appropriate number of crew that can operate your fishing vessel. The minimum crewing requirement is determined by the vessel length. However, different scenarios may require additional crew. Duration at sea, weather conditions and watch-keeping requirements all come into play when determining the appropriate number of crew. Take into consideration whether the crew requires specific qualifications and experience to safely execute their responsibilities and keep a record of these. It is the owner's responsibility to ensure that training is delivered by qualified people and is recorded and signed off in the vessel's logbook. When on watch, you are responsible for observing whether there are boats or hazards in your path. Firstly, ensure whoever is carrying out watch-keeping duties is qualified to do so, that they understand gauges, barometers, navigation aids, radar, and how to log unusual events. Secondly, it is critical to consider fatigue as a hazard for watchkeepers. Alertness fluctuates throughout the day and reaches a critical low from 3 to 5 a.m. during the circadian low. You are at most risk of falling asleep during this period. 7 to 9 hours of sleep are the minimum. Anything else is a compromise. Multiple nights of poor sleep will have a cumulative effect, contributing to even greater fatigue. If this coincides with being awake during the circadian low, then you are at a high risk of falling asleep involuntarily. Run this scenario when someone is on watch, and you can imagine the consequences. Fatigue affects everyone and should not be regarded as a weakness. Develop a procedure for people on watch to report fatigue if they feel at risk.
If I'm tired, I go, I'm going to bed. Oh, but we go, I'm going to bed. And you go to bed. Just don't let the world tell you what to do. Do what's best for you in regards to your health, because they don't care about you like you've got to care about you. So I find the best one to look after, number one, is me. And so I get sleep when you need it, you know, because guys, you know, a lot of accidents happen when you're really tired. And I think my brother, when he got killed, he got caught up in a net reel, but he was working on his own, which meant that he does everything on his own. And he had a net reel to wind his net on. And I know at that time of the year, it was cold in the morning, it was in August, but it heated up quick. Around about 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, it would heat up. And I just see it that he's undone his jacket and he hasn't taken it off, and it's got caught in the net and he hasn't been able to get it off. And then it just wound him onto the net reel and strangled him. And yeah, it was, you know, my brother, he was only 45 when that happened, yeah.
Often, there will be little time to act when an incident occurs. Conducting frequent drills will keep everyone prepared. consider the location and accessibility of all safety gear.
Ease of access is not only important in an emergency, it also encourages the maintenance of our equipment.
Items wrapped in plastic or bound by zip ties may appear neat, but they aren't ready to be used.
Ensure all safety gear is fit for purpose and fits the person.
Wearing a personal flotation device will maximise the chance of survival should you fall overboard.
There are many models on the market that offer freedom of movement and comfort.
Find a PFD that works for you.
When training your crew in fire response, remember the fire triangle.
Fire requires 3 things to burn: oxygen, fuel and heat. Remove one of those things and the fire should extinguish.
There are many more drills to consider in your safety management system. Crews who run regular drills will respond better in an emergency. Remember to record in the vessel's logbook when drills have been conducted.
When I started out, I was young and bulletproof. I used to steam around by myself working on the back deck for times a couple of hours without stepping into the wheelhouse. If I fell off that back deck, no one's going to turn that boat around. It wasn't until I had children that I started to realise that I got a few more responsibilities in this world rather than just catching a fish and having fun on the water. So these days I wear a personal inflatable life jacket with a personal EPIRB on the back belt. If I fall over the side, I'm going to certainly let somebody know about it because, again, no one's going to turn my boat around. It's going to keep going where it's going and it's going to leave me behind.
Sometimes when fishing, you want to remain invisible to protect your best fishing grounds. However, in an emergency, being invisible can cost your crews lives. Various GPS and radar beacons are your best chance of alerting someone when the worst happens. An automatic identification system, or AIS, is a collision avoidance system allowing vessels with an AIS installed to see one another and assist when someone nearby is in distress. A float-free EPIRB is activated when submerged in water. Upon reaching the surface, it sends a signal via GPS to AMSA, who will then alert local authorities. A SART buoy is a waterproof floating radar transponder. These units are small and light enough to be carried on survival crafts. The unit works by transmitting a series of pulses which appear on the X-band radar of nearby ships. Look after these beacons, test their battery frequently and check the expiry date. Without any of these systems, you are a needle in a haystack. Stability is an important factor for boats. It may sound like an obvious observation, but there are many factors that can cause instability in a vessel, a combination of which will lead to capsize. For example, overloading with catch or additional gear narrows the distance from sea level to deck and raises the overall centre of gravity. Consuming fuel and liquids in the tanks below will exacerbate the problem. These combined effects will greatly reduce the roll angle at which capsize is inevitable. A series of other factors, such as water ingress and down flooding, will also affect vessel stability. Work with surveyors and use AMSA's stability guidelines to resolve any issues. When incidents do occur, it is important to have a process of review. Gather the crew and discuss what went wrong. Was there a procedure for the incident? Yes. Why did it fail? No. Let's get one in place. Note that some incidents are reportable to AMSA. Reporting isn't just about improving the safety of your vessel, but of the whole industry. Injuries are often not reported. Because of this, we have a huge gap in our understanding of safety in professional fishing. Report incidents that result in injury and grow the understanding of safety in our industry. Remember to record all incidents and safety reviews in the vessel's logbook. Your SMS should match what you do on board. Don't make it bigger than it needs to be. The safest businesses are those that integrate their SMS into daily operation through checklists, morning briefings and regular drills. Bring everyone home safely. Review your SMS.
It's good for fishermen to understand when things go wrong, why they went wrong, and how you can avoid those situations or events yourself.
You know, try and concentrate 100% all the time and always be aware there's dangers. You've just got to expect the unexpected really when you're on the water.
There's nothing wrong with being too safe. If you get home every day, that's the main thing.
Usually it's because people have just pushed the environment just a fraction too far, gone fishing on that day, you know, when it's a bit windy and they know they shouldn't, but they think their pots have got crows in them or one thing and another, and really it's not worth it. It's just not worth any human life, and it's not worth the injury either.
You know, we work around a lot of machinery, we work in a lot of different elements, and there's a lot of risks out there, but you need to understand them, and I think it's just about being prepared for it.
Because I prepare to go to sea under all circumstances. And I have a boat that I regularly check. All my safety equipment's up to date, and I've got a time frame when I'm going to be home.